So one of the most important things that I've learned over many years is that feeling good about yourself and feeling good about the world has has little to do with the actual feeling itself. There's a whole bunch of mental work that goes on behind the scenes where you actually have to manage this in a very real way. Often I have triggers that set me down a spiral. Often it's some sort of social comparison thing where I'm comparing myself against others. Often it's based on metrics that completely are irrelevant to me. Um, so in my field and research, it's metrics based on publications and as well as how somebody is doing relative to these publications. And it matters a lot to me, but I try to do quality work. So my publications are almost always slower. I almost always want to actually do the work. There's a large group of people that are very appearingly successful. I almost think of them as hummingbirds within the scientific profession. And it's irrespective of who they actually are. They come in and they work on something for 30 seconds and they disappear, but they don't do the hard work. And, maybe even less than that, they really don't do the hard work. And they always need other people to do the hard work. And that's often people like myself. Um, and, you know, often as junior folks, I like to actually do the work. I like to actually train. I like to mentor. I actually like to be a real human being, and that doesn't get valued. But at the same time, I have to snap myself out of this, or I start going through these social comparison games, and I have to say, you know, I have many other different traits that are really remarkable, right? So I'm saying that these things are really good human traits that I have, determination, um, doing things just for working, making sure that people are actually doing better because I'm around. Well, these are really good humanistic traits that are just fundamentally not rewarded within my profession. And um, they're just not. Like, it's just not a metric that anybody measures. I think in some places they might do that, but it's really, if you want to be doing good stuff, you have to play by the rules. And the rules are you have to be kind of more like these hummingbird type folks. Everybody knows it. It's real, doing real stuff. But nobody really calls it out. So it's just a different strategy of life, but that gets rewarded a lot. And so that's what you see a lot of poor, people not really taking thoughtful thinking and things like that. But let me come back to my bigger story that I wanted to actually talk about. And that is, I have to manage my happiness in a very real way where happiness is not necessarily the thing that I want to chase, but it's the thing I manage so that I feel good and get back up every day. And I have to do any series of tricks in my mind where I try to remember. And I think anybody that is doing anything that's difficult has to remember this. So this applies broadly, not just to my field. And that is, you have to remember that you're doing okay. You are alive, breathing. Even if you're close to death, you still have a few more days. If you remember that you're going to die, it kind of snaps you out of everything. You also remember, you look around, you say, what do I actually have at my fingertips that I think a lot of people actually don't have? And I look at many of these sort of researcher types, and I know that they're deeply miserable inside. And I think I'm actually fairly content and calm, and I have a super beautiful wife and family with 2 kids that are remarkable that care about me, like deeply care. And that it's took a lot of work to get there to think about this in terms of even in our family. But I think we all really get along. I like to be around them. I think they like to be around me. I think, and I think that this is the most important thing in my metric is how am I actually, how is the world better off because of Northern? And I have to look at all these different parts. I also have to look at, the fact that I'm still alive, doing good things. And maybe I die and I go to heaven and it's much better there. At this moment, this is an amazing opportunity. And I'm not going to squander it by focusing on those things so much. So yes, I have my rant with my wife and complain, but then the next day I have a good sleep and I try to get back at it. And I say, I am doing well. Look at what I can possibly do. And I'm going to protect and shelter myself and my family so that they are living well. Not that I'm doing well. And that's the most important thing. It's not that, just me is doing well. Because I recognize that being part of a family is often a sacrifice. Is that we are collectively doing well. And we can move forward collectively. Each one of us could probably do a little bit better if we were separate. But collectively, we're doing really well in how we handle the world. And I think I always have to come back to that and think about it is, is the world better off because I'm actually here? And every day I make that decision, I say, I actually think it is. I think it truly, deeply is. Because I've built not superficial things, because success and all that kind of stuff is very, very superficial. And it is really hollow. But I've built a family around me that cared. I think, and I care about them as well. And I think the more that you think about that, and you don't build your bigger, it's just a family of one. If it's just you think about how you can build that so you can get up and love yourself another day and realize that you're doing okay. I think this mental work of being happy and realizing that the world often doesn't give you what you would like at a moment, but you have to work at it and you have to go through step by step is often a remarkable thing. Now, I think also what we forget about is we'll run into a lot of people in our lives that don't think like that. In fact, I think most people don't think like that at all. They're not thinking about making the world better. They're thinking about making themselves get ahead. And that's where you just wish them well. And you let them get ahead and live their miserable life. I think it's so incredibly important to balance that and to think about it. It's the only way I can get ahead in my own life. And getting ahead means that I'm a nicer, better person. Means that other people that are around me that really know me actually say that this person I want to be around and this person cares. This person will actually work with me. This person will, I think one of the most important tells before I go is I hear these stories about how the people's parents, like you talk to people and they say, oh, my kid just does all of his work himself. So I could do my own work and I could do my own thing. I think in my head, I would go crazy because I miss those moments where I'm actually sitting beside my kids, helping them with their homework. And it's such an important moment for me. And I think it's going to be one of the most important things I'll ever miss when they grow up and they leave the house. Helping them grow has been the most rewarding thing I've been able to do. Take care and have a wonderful day.